Hello there, it's Mike.
And Katie.
And we're doing episode 108.
Yes.
What are we talking about today, Katie?
Well, it was going to be the Santa Claus.
This week on Cup of Rad. Hi there. So how you doing?
Hi, everyone. It's so close to Christmas.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
What's your favorite Christmas song?
Carol of the Bells.
I knew that. Now you know that.
Hark, hear the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to you, young and old, meek and the bold. La 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 la.
Nice.
It has so many facets to it, right?
Every version is still really awesome too.
It's like there's the versions that are like the somber, like, you know,
kind
like
of like
sad, depressing, choiry like ones, and then there's like the jazzy, and then there's like there's like electronic ones, and there's like fast ones, there's acoustic ones. Like it can be anywhere from like action packed to sexy.
That is true.
Like
because I mean, there's only so many different ways you can sing a lot of the stereotypical Christmas songs, but that one is very versatile for like.
And it's one Michael Bublé hasn't done.
That
I'm aware of.
And well, if you haven't come across that, of course we would have had to come across it. That's the only one. That's the only one that can't really be done in a crooner style. That's why. That's why you like it.
Hark, hear the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say.
You know what? Even that is still better.
Throw cares away.
But yeah, you're right. It can't do that. I think that's why, though, it's different in that aspect.
Yeah. The Calling does a good acousticy good.
That's one of my favorite versions ever. Yeah. And we had lost it for years because we couldn't. It was
like a Target exclusive for years.
Yeah. And now it's finally on Spotify, which is just super awesome.
Yeah.
It showed up on our list and I was like, what could it be? He's like, I found it. There's so many different versions of Carol of the Bells on our Christmas playlist.
Yeah. Well, there's, of course, because it's not Carol of the Bells, but it's Christmas Eve, whatever. That's
why it was so hard for me, because that was the only version that I knew.
Yeah, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And I never knew why I couldn't find what song it was from Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Yeah.
And then you realize it's just Christmas Eve. And that's why it's very confusing. So
Lindsay Sterling does a good one too.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Like electronic. It's got like dubstep in it.
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah.
Well, that one, yeah, it's strings too, doesn't it?
It's all violin too.
Yeah,
right?
It's violin. Yeah, that one's awesome.
And then of course you've got your classic, your John Williams from Home Alone. You have the David Foster one. You know, there's like it's like everywhere.
Mm. Even Bare Naked Ladies has one.
Yeah,
electronic, like even that one is super fun.
So
nice. Okay,
I've always thought that would be a really good one to play over like an action movie.
Yeah,
you know, it's like the Die Hard kind of feel, and like just that idea where starts playing and all the chaos reigns. You know, explosions, gunfire, men sliding through snow, bloodied and sweated, firing their guns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Send the creative brainwaves out.
Pop, 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 pop. Pop, pop, pop.
That could have been used in Fat Man.
Maybe in the sequel.
There you go. That would be pretty sweet.
Hey, so they actually were saying that they have sequel ideas and prequel ideas, so it's just a matter of time because it's actually turned into a bit of a surprise hit for them.
That's cool.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I think it's a cool idea. And
it'd be interesting to see if they could get deeper into the Santa lore with it.
Yeah,
a bit more, because like some of the promotional material is like full on. Like you look at it, you're like, well, it is a Santa Claus, like you know. But the movie is so not, like, you know, because like the cover for the DVD is he's like in a red coat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? He never
looks like that. Yeah. He never looks stereotypical like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Right. So will he become that way, or was he that way, or vice versa?
Or both.
So, yeah.
Maybe this is like the middle movie.
Yeah, there you go.
There should have been two more.
Nice.
So, but we're not talking about that at the moment.
Well,
too much worryable. Okay, what is your favorite Christmas carol?
My favorite Christmas song is the Christmas Waltz, specifically by Frank Sinatra.
A very specific version too. Yep. That was on your Rat Pack CD.
Yeah, my Rat Pack CD is my favorite Christmas album. But so that specifically that version is my favorite. It makes me all warm and fuzzy inside every time I hear it. I don't know why, but like it warms my heart.
In 3/4 time.
So
wishing me and colors.
And stop singing.
Something to...
So I don't have like nearly as many exciting things to talk about, considering Mike's like, I like every version. I'm like, I like one version. But the other thing, I always loved everything Trans-Siberian Orchestra. That was always fun. So
yeah, because it's just so epic.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't feel like regular Christmas music.
No.
I remember when I worked and I was working in a receiving bay, and I was like, I'm gonna put some Christmas music on. They're like, oh no, we have to listen to Christmas music out there. I was like, yeah, but it's not your traditional, like. And then someone came in, they're like, what are you listening to? Why is it so hard in here? I thought we were supposed to be listening to Christmas music. I was like, it is Christmas music.
Can you imagine what it would sound like now?
Right. So
that's funny. So what are we here to talk about first?
Well, you know what, the biggest news there actually is news moving forward.
Yeah.
In the realm of entertainment
that is completely not related to Christmas.
Yeah, well, well, there's a bit of Christmas, I guess, when you think about it. HBO Max has announced that everything is going to be going to streaming. Same day as theater. It's not just, they're going to be doing both.
Yeah. Which
is pretty big news, which has angered a lot in Hollywood, as well as, for those that can't get to the theater now because theaters are closed, it's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, definitely.
I get that it's not where they intended in the big screen, the big sound and all that, but at the same time, art's...
But COVID kind of kiboshed plans.
Right.
Like, we all got to roll with it.
Right? Heck, even our donut shop was originally supposed to be making a new donut shop, and they've disclosed plans for that, and they're only going to be selling to other...
Yeah, they're just wholesale now completely.
Yeah. So everything's changing. There was even a coffee shop that had bought into our local downtown that decided to back out of their lease.
Yep.
And they're only going to be a wholesale bakery now and coffee seller as well. So the world is changing. And I think unfortunately filmmakers got to realize that the world is changing.
Well, I think too, I understand their frustration, but it's because we have to also, if we modify how the movies get to the viewers, we also have to modify how we judge it and how the money is made on it. And that has to catch up so that filmmakers can understand that their merits are going to be judged properly rather than just with box office sales. Because understandably, that's always been our benchmark for how well a movie is and makes you, okay, you're a financial success for this. Well, then how do you judge box office when it's streaming?
See, and now when you think about it, Spielberg wasn't too crazy when he pitched years back to say it needed to go on tickets sold, not by money.
Yep.
And that even came when he was like, his film was top of the box office, but if it had gone that way, Lilo and Stitch would have been top of the box office.
Yeah.
If they had gone the way that he was, and so he would have been throwing himself under the bus.
There you go.
Right. So,
and so in that way, then it would be tickets plus like number of times streaming, and then you'd be like, okay, well then this is done really well type thing.
Yeah.
How do you judge that, right? So understandably frustrated, but
totally,
it'll be interesting to see how they navigate that world,
how it goes forward, right?
Yeah.
Because we'll see, but that's why Wonder Woman's coming to streaming, and everything else Warner Brothers' entire palette is coming out that way.
Yeah.
So Disney had its investors call for Disney Plus, and for Disney in general, and they didn't really announce any new movies coming to theaters. Everything they talked about basically was series. So
it was just Disney Plus update.
It was it was interesting to see that they're going full hog with their Star Wars 4+ mega series. Ahsoka's getting a series. They talked more about Obi-Wan. There's going to be a couple other series that take place.
There's the spinoff from Rogue One. There's the Troopers, the Bad Batch.
Batch.
Yeah,
the cartoon.
Yeah.
That takes place just after the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So they're just expanding that world, and it's all going to be on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Same with Marvel. They announced a whole bunch more stuff we'd already kind of known was coming out and rumblings of, but
now it's like more confirmed and cemented, right?
Yeah, and so you're going to get a ton of series, and they mentioned like the next 5 years, it's like 10 Star Wars series and 10 Marvel series,
right.
And then Disney Animation is going to be doing series as well. You've got a Baymax series, you got a Zootopia series, a Moana series, and Tiana series, all from Disney Animation, not television animation.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because I know the Rapunzel, the Tangled series seemed so popular for them.
Yeah, and that came from the
and that was a
Disney,
television side, right?
The animation side. So we'll see what happens because it's supposed to be all in the movie style.
Yeah.
Not in like a new stylized version.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's not maybe ideal. Like I would love to see more movies from them and everything. But at the same time, if this is what keeps them moving forward and keeps those people to have jobs and keeps the creativity and keeps the company going forward, then I'm okay with it.
Well, Disney Plus is the only thing that's making Disney money right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I know that the parks are unrelated to them and their animation, but at the same time, those parks are going to help, they cross promote and synergize with it, right? So with the parks not being open, they have to find other ways to shuffle things around,
Other parks are opening, but the California's is the one that's hitting, you know, they even were told to stop construction or repairs right now because California was
the extra
blooming.
Lockdown. Yeah. So California's been in such a bad shape right now, right? So there's a lot of fun, interesting things for sure. Like I'm very excited.
And then there's gonna be lots more live action, which I know we haven't been the biggest fans of, but there are fans of it. So Pinocchio and Peter and Wendy and all those. So Tom Hanks is playing Geppetto.
Pinocchio could be interesting.
Yeah,
but.
prequel to The Lion King.
What? Like when Mufasa's young? Or are we going to find out what happens to Mufasa and Scar?
Probably. They'd probably make Scar the anti-hero.
Yeah.
He probably isn't as bad as we thought.
Yeah, he's really, he really, got dealt the short end of the stick, and we should feel bad for him for taking over and killing out the... Well, I hate it already. Sorry. Anyways, speaking of Disney Plus, Mando Friday.
Mando.
Second to last episode of the season already. Holy moly.
And then we found out that the next season is next year at Christmas.
Yes, it's a little more delayed. I'm not happy that it actually premieres on Christmas
Day.
Not okay with that at all.
Yeah.
It's like they're already preemptively assuming Christmas is still going to have a problem next year. Let's be honest. You're not going to be with your family still, so let's watch Mando. That's not okay, Disney.
See, the worst thing about it is they'll have no time to bring out new toys for Be Under the Tree.
Right? What the heck?
Right? Because, they keep announcing new toys. Bo-Katan is coming out as well.
Because they know that you guys will just buy it anyway, even if it's January.
Yeah, I know, but it's still sad.
I know.
What a little Mando in a box under the tree. Box Mando. But Mando, so what do you think of this last episode?
Well, it was wonderful as always. I mean,
I felt this one was a little bit more dry. It had some great dramatic substance.
Yeah.
But it felt a little bit more like a filler episode.
Yeah.
Like
I'm just so excited for every single time, and it's always just like, okay, so what's next?
Yeah.
What's next? But yeah, no, I get it, especially after the prior episode.
How action-packed the last few episodes have been, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But it was still, that being said, it was still a fantastic episode that had a lot of dramatic elements and a lot of character and drama that was good. So it's like, it's weird to say that it wasn't my favorite of the season so far.
I think it was such a big deal to see how intensely Mando cares about Grogu. What is it properly?
Oh, she used the name.
I know. It took all of my effort to say that. And to see him kind of breaking that harsh shell that he has.
Yeah.
He obviously still cares about his creed and that, his oath. But I think him being introduced to the concept that not every single Mandalorian is like that. And he is still doing it for something that is to him, it was worth more to get that job done. And then it was really impressive to see the
Bill Burr's character.
Bill Burr, yeah, we're just going to call him that.
I don't remember what it was.
To see how much, what he was willing to do and how much
sleep at night.
He was so just completely messed up, and how much he pushed through, and the respect that he still gave on the fact that I never saw your helmet off, and it was very emotionally moving for sure.
Yeah,
it was definitely dramatic.
It was
right?
good in that extra, but the idea that it was
some of the bombings and the pirates and the blowing up the ship and everything.
Yeah, I guess it was.
That was pretty cool.
Maybe we need to rewatch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a pretty intense episode. But compared
to the prior one, it was just like not mind blowing with that. It was more. It was the punch of it was definitely more dramatic and emotional, right?
Yeah.
So,
but we have one more episode for this season, so that'll be an interesting spin of the wheel. We told
Kiddo, we're like, there's only one left. What?
Yeah, he didn't know that there was more seasons coming, so he was a little.
But still, that's. I don't know where they're going to wrap it up to.
Oh, it's going to be a cliffhanger to end all cliffhangers.
It's going to be just...
Especially with that weight. There's going to be something that's going to happen that we're just going to like retch out our... It should.
I mean, they should have the biggest cliffhanger of all. They should be promoting... should be confronting...
Gideon,
but Moff Gideon?
Yeah.
That's what I said. Because of they found his location and everything. I mean, that's what it was, I'm coming for you, which was like super awesome.
It didn't have the same weight as when Rambo said it, though. I'm coming for you.
It's because, I don't know, maybe because you couldn't see his face or anything. You couldn't see the emotion.
Maybe, his big fat
it also is a hieroglyphic
as he says it, and his big bulging biceps.
But that'll be interesting. I'm be curious to see Black Saber come out and battle or something. Dark Saber, sorry. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think that staff is going to come into play.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
it would have to, because that's the thing they showed, that it can stand against a lightsaber, and that's the thing that he has still. Yeah. So
here I was hoping we were going to see some Ahsoka action with the Dark Saber,
but we're just going to hope she's going to go after Thrawn. So
yeah. That's going to be a whole series.
Which is like pretty epic. So, so I'm very excited.
Hey, I wonder if we'll find out the Jedi this time around that Grugo, if he did link with a Jedi. But
if there's
so many questions.
I know, right?
So speaking of the guy that plays Gideon.
Yeah.
He is also in the DuckTales.
Mm-hmm.
And we caught up on our DuckTales. We were 2 episodes behind because they did a Christmas episode.
Mm-hmm.
And just like their Halloween episode, they gave the theme song a Christmassy spin.
It was so awesome.
Which was pretty awesome.
It was all DuckTales in crooner style and all just singing about Christmas. And the whole, even the animation and everything was Christmas.
Well, they just threw snow over top of it.
Yeah, I know, but
and then they put wreaths on the thing.
But still,
they made the effort to do that.
Like no one else does that, right?
No.
So that started off with it's like, oh, we're awesome now.
But yeah, it was How Santa Stole Christmas,
and
it was the whole story of why Scrooge hates Santa Claus. He sets
traps for him. He's not allowed in the house. I love that. Della's going off about he knows what he did. He's not allowed in this house. Yeah, well, what did he do that's so bad? It's better that you not know. She's like, wait, you don't know, do you? So they just know they're supposed to hate. He knows
what he did.
They're supposed to hate Santa Claus and not ask questions.
Yep. Scrooge just brainwashed them into thinking, right? Webby's the only one that believes in it.
Yeah.
But it was a good episode. It was a fantastic really episode.
Good. It was, what I found, like, at the different commercial breaks, I was like, wow, there's so much of this episode left and so much has happened. Mm-hmm. I felt really impressed with how much they fit into the half-hour episode.
Yeah.
Without feeling rushed. There was lots of story going on. And I was just struck with that, because so many times it's like, okay, wow, like
what happened?
This is really kind of a waste, or it's like, or there's so much, and then they don't have enough time to tie it up, and they just like, oh, and we're done.
Yeah, the team that has done the DuckTales reboot, we've said it a million times, is friggin' fantastic.
Right.
Their storytelling and their pacing is brilliant. And y'all need to go watch it because it's ending and you need to catch on that bandwagon. There's 2 seasons on Disney Plus. Catch up on Disney Channel or XD because it is going to be coming to an end and they're supposed to be getting some big finale next year. So, yes, watch it. Watch this show because it is amazeballs.
Yeah, every single episode has been enjoyable.
Yeah, honestly. Totally.
So
worth it. And the Christmas episodes, both ones that they've done have been fantastic.
Yep.
So go watch it. Go watch it now. We'll wait. We'll wait for you. It's okay. You can go. But come back. We'll be waiting. So we found something else on Disney Plus.
So there was a new movie called Godmothered that had dropped, and it was set in Christmas time.
Loosely.
So we thought we would...
accidentally Christmas.
Right?
But purposely Christmas, just to get you Hallmark fans.
So I thought, it'd be something a little bit different to try in that the vein of like dipping our toes in something a little bit more Hallmarky. And... it's interesting because it's generally the two actresses are usually a little bit more crude humor and everything. And it was interesting to see them in something so light and fluffy, right? So it's essentially, this girl wants to be a godmother, and the motherland of all the godmothers have...
I was really sold on them calling it the motherland a whole lot.
It was weird because every single time it was Russia.
Right.
But that the godmothers are no longer required. People don't believe in them anymore because the concept of their what they're there for is outdated. Find a guy, fall in love, live happily ever after. And our world doesn't fit into that mold really anymore. And so they have withered away because they refuse to change and see love in a different way. And so she decides she finds this one last assignment, but the letter is from years and years ago, when
30
she was
years old, or
a small kid, and now she's grown up and she's got 2 daughters and she's a widow and she's miserable, and so she kind of forces the godmother kind of forces herself onto it because she's determined that she is going to fix this and save everything. Yeah. And so you realize too that she's doing it so much for herself as well, not wanting to read the situation, but it was cute and it was fun. It ended up being that it wasn't, because it kept pushing, and the lack of true love feel, It's like, in all reality, especially what I like that message though, is that you can't find love outside. She didn't like herself in her own little bubble, and her relationship with her kids was broken, and her kids were, traumatized and not dealing with things. And she was never going to find any happiness in the outside world because she wasn't happy inside. And so she was able to help solve that. So that was a good message for sure. Yeah. And that she ended up actually just helping her kids and move there. That was the love that she found for her to move on to something better for the future. Right. So I did like that message. It was fun.
Yeah, it was cute. It was fun. I had a few laughs. It was forgettable.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't, when it all comes down to it, I don't care to watch it again. Yeah. Because I didn't feel like the type of movie that it was. I can get that feeling from other different places type thing. Yeah. But it was definitely cute.
If I remember correctly, it was supposed to be a theatrical release a long time ago that was then moved to Plus prior to COVID. It was like the no faith, like, oh crap.
And I can see that. Like the idea of it, if I had paid $25 for us to go, or bring kiddo or something like that, I would have been disappointed. Yeah, in all reality. But that's my own judgment for it, right? Because I like the fluff, but at the same time there was enough of that corniness where it's like, oh jeez, especially when the godmother shows up, and it's a nice message, but it's still done with kind of very tongue in cheek, and so nice. But it was an interesting commentary on news.
Yeah, that was the most interesting.
I really like that because they're very much focused on, they're not trying to find the uplifting or the actual educational things. All they're trying to do is fear and what's driving is sensationalism, right? Yeah. And, they only were seen as a success with their boss when they made an accidental, viral video. And, now all of a sudden we're popular because that was the next big thing right now. And it wasn't actually journalism. It wasn't anything important. It was just, so that was a good commentary on something and how much it can be soul sucking to live like that. She was constantly having to find the negative in every environment rather than finding the positive. And if we constantly live in that world where we're having to find what's wrong, what's the angle, how can we make this worse so that you pay attention to this? Well, no wonder our lives are miserable. And that was a good thing to look at that lens and be like, our whole world is doing that. We're constantly worrying what to angle with someone. We're creating a mistrust among everyone. And there's a certain amount of healthy questioning, and then there is finding the negative out of every situation. And so that's, I think, was one of the best parts of it.
Yeah, that was.
It was a little bit more thought-provoking than anything. So,
which was wild.
Yeah.
It was under the disguise of fluff.
Right.
But yeah, Godmothered on Disney Plus. It was, if you want something silly in the background while you're folding laundry.
Yeah, I mean, I would still recommend it. It wasn't a complete waste of time, in a positive. So.
No, I was having a drink of beer.
Try to be honest.
Sorry. That's where I was.
Well, we also watched another thing on Disney Plus. We took advantage of an HD feed of a classic that we always watch for you.
Yeah, and that's where this episode was going to be. This episode was originally going to be the Santa Claus trilogy.
So now we have the little mini main event.
Tim Allen's Disney Santa trilogy.
We've gotten one down so far.
We watched one.
Because inevitably our schedule of Christmas movies always goes out the window.
As much as we've been watching a lot of Christmas movies, there's just so many, right? There's so many.
We found new things, and then, as I say, kiddo's schedule has changed with, wanting to watch different movies, and we just have so. So
it's the idea where some things just need to just let lie.
Yeah.
And maybe then next year we watch all.
But you know what? We can't not watch the original Santa Claus for Christmas. So
Santa Claus was like one of those surprise hits. Like it just exploded back in the day.
Yeah.
And then the sequels were okay.
I have always loved this movie.
Well, it's like the first Toy Story. Yeah. There's bite. There's wit.
Yes.
It's like not fully a Disney-fied movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because it still makes...
It's got so much heart, but it still got
some of that edge that it had. And I think that's what was really successful with it.
You're right. It really is like Toy Story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. Anyways.
They were, before they kidified them more, right? So the story is basically the idea that, a toy marketing guy ends up scaring Santa Claus. He falls off his roof and he finds a card that says, put on the suit. The reindeer will know what to do. And he suddenly starts becoming Santa Claus.
Yes.
So that's the whole premise. And throughout it, he's dealing with his divorce, his wife and the kid believing that he's Santa Claus, and his ex-wife and her husband pulling away because, how can you be doing this to the kid?
Well, because he's not been a great father, so they're just very concerned that he's doing this to try to garner a relationship with his son, because this is the most his son has been okay with him. And the stepfather is a psychiatrist, and so he's very, very skeptical of things. You find out that he stopped believing in Santa Claus when he was 3, so that's also why.
All over an Oscar Mayer weenie whistle.
There's no whimsy in his life. So yeah, it's all about him finally accepting and believing who he is. But that transformation there is really interesting to see that.
Yeah.
He's gaining weight. His hair is refusing to stay shaved. It's turning white, and so it's a fun movie. I thought we'd have more to talk about, but I don't know. It's because it's been around for 30 years or something like that. It's one of those classics that you watch, you laugh at, and you have a good time. Well, what's funny is Scott Calvin is such a kind of a dick at the beginning. He's not.
That is something I noticed this time around.
Yeah, he is not a good person.
No.
But at the same time, with his wit, he delivers it so well. He's still really funny. You're like,
well, you forget about it because of.
I shouldn't be laughing at him acting like this. It's not okay how he treats his son, or his lack of caring about his son's feelings for Christmas and
the people
his
he works
employees.
with.
Yeah, we saw that immediately right off the bat. How much?
I've never even noticed that anymore.
Right?
I don't even know why. When his partner that created the doll with him, she starts talking and he just grabs the mic from her and says, "Yeah, we don't have time for that. Listen to me instead."
Yes.
Right? And I was just like, wow.
So then you see that and you're like, wow, that's just all part of his character too. And or what was more acceptable and expected back when the movie was made. There is a little bit of that too.
Oh,
right?
yeah, no, totally.
But you really see that and how he's just so not a good guy. So it's such a change for him to become when he does come around to the end, and he's such a different person then.
Yeah.
There's some really strong Christmas magic there going on.
Well, I guess it's also that journey, right? That journey to see what's more important. What's more important, the whimsy of children or the almighty dollar, right?
Exactly,
and that's where
well, in that board meeting that he has one where he's really starting to accidentally embrace the Santa, right? And you can tell the way he's now talking, because he gets so upset. They're introducing Santa Claus,
total
tank, and he gets so upset with the way the elves are and how dare
Why
Santa.
The elves are so funny? Shouldn't they look more whimsical with some sparkles,
little specks on their cheeks, and how dare you take the sleigh away from Santa? Isn't that a pretty picture? Santa rolling down the street in a Panzer.
Look out, Timmy!
Just check out the Pearson home. So I love a lot of that. Yeah. Right. That humor. He does such a good job. I mean, Till Allen is amazing. So.
And that's that. Yeah. His delivery of those lines were so perfect. Comedic timing that he had back then. Right.
Exactly. So that definitely makes it. So definitely a classic. I mean, I would assume you guys have seen it. If you haven't,
it's on Disney Plus.
You should go see it. I because we aren't going to be able to probably have time to watch it. I really enjoyed the second one. The third one is ridiculous.
See, I like the third one more than the second one.
I know.
It's because it's Martin Short.
I know. I mean,
he's like being like Liza Minnelli.
Well, he's hilarious.
Like Martin Short makes that movie.
Oh, totally.
But anyways, let's go back to the second one.
But yeah, I love Martin Short for that one for sure. But it's just there's so much going on in the third one. But I like the second one only because it's a
Hallmark movie.
Oh God, I can't talk about it. I just realized it.
It's Santa falling in love.
I know it is. It totally is. And so that's one of those.
Mrs. Claus, which I don't understand why it isn't subtitled that.
Yeah.
So sorry.
I don't really have anything else to
say. No, you were.
No, you were talking. Just you had to say that. I know you don't like it. It's okay.
No, I like it.
But I like the change, like the when she starts changing a little bit more, and just like my favorite scene in the whole movie is when he gives all the gifts at the Christmas party to the teachers.
That's a brilliant scene.
Like that scene makes me so happy. Yeah. Because the idea that a bunch of adults can be kids again, that's my favorite part of the whole movie. Yeah. Right there. So
where that movie goes in the kidified nature is the idea of like adding in the legendary figures. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And the Tooth Fairy thing.
Oh yeah. There's Roy. Well, it's again, they add too many characters. Yeah. They add way too much.
I don't mind the evil toy dictator Santa. I think that's actually a really cool thing. Yeah. Right. It's the legendary figures that they throw in there that kind of like.
Well, as I say, there's just too much going in there, right?
That's kind of, and Chet, that sounds like
Chet is not. He's so not needed.
He sounds like one of the Rugrats.
It sounds like a
Chucky. Mm-hmm. I think it's actually voiced by
that would make sense. Yeah, Chucky. It sounds like a
dun, 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 right. Yeah. But those are the things like if you actually had the Santa romance where he's losing his magic because he doesn't have the Mrs. Claus. Yeah.
And that's what I like the core story of, right? I like that idea with him. Even the struggle that he has with the son, Charlie dealing with, the not having his dad around. And now you kind of see the opposite side of it, the not so rosy fun side. And that core story there, I really enjoy.
And see, that's where too. Then in that romantic comedy setup, mm-hmm. the evil Santa toy, that's the foil to the reason why that the breakup thing kind of happens. Yeah. Right. Where he has to go back. He has no other choice. Yeah. So he can't follow through on the romance, the human portion that needs the romance. So that's where that break hits. Yeah. So that's the important, those are those important beats. Yeah. It's you say, it's adding all those other things that then weigh it down into the silliness. Right. Yeah. But that being said, that I love the silliness that is in the Santa Claus 3, the escape clause, because.
But everything with Martin Short is genius, and so He's hilarious. I think, as I say, it's just there's so much going on with it, but at the same time,
it takes too long to get into the story.
Yeah,
and like it almost just needs to like have just started right off the bat, where like he's feeling without seeing all the like that's where they got a little more silly.
Yeah.
Kind of feel, but if they just they would just got right into
all the
it.
elves and all the playing and all that, there's just a little too much of that going on, right?
But I love how he plays Jack Frost so naughty too.
Yeah.
Right.
He's so funny.
Just like he's filthy and he's
a little like he's an imp. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
a little angry sprite.
Right. All three of them are on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But Santa Claus is definitely worthwhile.
You know, if we have the time, I enjoy all of them for sure. They all have this place for them. Yeah. Right? So
and you know, this probably will get like ruffle some feathers.
Ooh.
But I think that the Santa Claus is one of Disney's few franchises that they literally could reboot, remake, or continue, right? Mm-hmm. Because of how they set it up. They could literally get another actor to play Santa Claus, and Scott Calvin just dies.
Well, I thought Charlie was supposed to get into the family business.
He has not.
And Kiddo thought that was hilarious. He's like, yeah, he means he wants to grow up and knock his dad off the roof. I thought that was hilarious. So, you know, why don't we have that?
Santa, he cut the rope. Sorry, Dad.
But yeah, exactly. I mean, it literally allows for you
in the first 15 minutes of the movie
to rewrite itself all the time. It allows you to have a new person play Santa and have a completely reimagined different way of thinking about it. You know, what if someone did know about this and did try to, you know, that was their life goal was to become Santa Claus.
Right there, you got those kids that were in Charlie's class in the first movie. You need to make one of those kids.
All he has to do is knock Santa off the roof.
Make that kid.
Right?
You know,
and then he
spent his entire life sitting on rooftops.
Right?
No, then he just becomes a villain. You have to have a sympathetic Santa.
No, I know. But then that could be the transformation, right? You know?
Or he was just doing for his own good, like Prep and Landing, the naughty child.
You know, maybe he's doing something that he, you know, turned out to be originally selfish, but then, you know, changes. Because, you know, the original one was just so accidental.
Yeah.
And maybe it was purposeful, but then it still changes something around, right? So, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's one of those few that actually they could just try to continue on. This could be Disney's James Bond.
Exactly.
Right?
And it makes more sense than James Bond. You know? We just accept that James Bond changes. But this one literally has its own mechanism built into the story to allow for it.
As long as they don't get The Rock. I'm sorry, but I just couldn't do that.
The Rock is nowhere near... He should not be near Santa. No.
They should, but Kevin Hart maybe could do it. Because that would be pretty awesome.
That would definitely be a different Santa. Yeah. That would be interesting.
Dave Chappelle and Disney's Santa Claus.
Can you imagine Kevin Hart at the weight that Santa Claus is? Like,
I know. That's what I'm like. Because he's such this little jacked like little dude, right?
Little bulldog.
Right? So you know.
Huh. Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of that duo, you know, if they're gonna try to go like that star power field, you know.
Oh, okay. I like it.
We watched it, but speaking of more Santa, we watched another Santa-based movie.
Yes.
One that I'd been wanting to watch. It was up for the animation Oscar last year. And Kiddo had watched a portion of it in his school last year. So when I was suggesting to watch it, he was like, nah, I don't want to do it. So
but then this year when we asked him if we could just watch it ourselves, no, I want to watch it.
Yeah. So the joys of that. So we watched Klaus.
Yes. I can see why it was up for animated Best awards. Picture. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story. It's on Netflix. Yeah. And oh my God. It's a beautiful film.
Away. Yeah.
Beautifully voice acted, beautifully animated. A fantastic story. J.K. Simmons plays Klaus. And Jason Schwartzman
it was such
is
a
the
different
postman.
Yeah, it's a different take on it for sure.
Yeah.
It was the origin of Christmas and
origin of Santa.
Sorry, the origin of Santa
because they celebrated Christmas.
They did. You're right. The origin of Santa's role in Christmas.
Yeah.
It was interesting because when we were first starting watching it, you're like, what does this have anything to do with this? Like, how is this? But it was cool because some of these other old ones that would have had like the starting out of learning about Santa was, you start with like a flashback feel, and it's like it has to, you feel like you're watching something that has an origin of Santa.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know what it was at all, you'd have no idea. And I thought it was an interesting take. So,
but yeah, I laughed, and there's a lot of heart in it, and visually it is just a stunning film. Like visually, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
It was just whoa.
I liked the development of the characters and how they changed. The town was built on spite and resentment. They
very topical.
Yeah, and it was very much this side versus this side, and you can't break ranks, and you have to fight whenever we think you need to fight.
Whenever we ring that bell,
and there's everything has to be. Purposely even going out of their way to cause a problem for the other side.
Yeah.
It's not just staying away from them. It is proactively taking the offensive.
Yeah.
And just being mean for no real reason anymore. And the concept that you can see it, that the children are not born with hatred. They're being taught it.
Yeah.
Because Klaus shows up and he says, one unselfish act of kindness will just spark another one.
Yeah.
And it just takes a little bit of that, and the kids start acting like you would expect, or like they actually are like, well, why can't I go and play with this person on the other side of the fence? And it has so many different meanings between racism and all the hate in general that we have. That it's like, well, what's wrong with that person? Just you've decided to tell me that I can't be with that person, and you don't even know why anymore. And just the love that they can teach, and the transformation that happens in the town over something as simple as being given a toy was just so wonderful to see.
Yeah, it was very heartwarming. I definitely recommend that. Was out of everything we've kind of watched this week. It was just one of those ones where I was like, damn, that was a good movie.
Yeah, that was definitely a wonderful one to add. And I think that is going to be added to our repertoire for repeat Christmas watches for sure. Because,
Klaus on Netflix, you need to check that movie out. Like, solidly a great movie if you haven't already.
Yes.
Highly
recommend it.
And then there's one we watch every year.
Because I won't allow them to skip it at all. The Year Without a Santa Claus.
It was the year without a Santa Claus.
The worst we've ever had.
Rankin and Bass.
This one, again, I'm sure we probably talked about it last year, was one of my all-time favorites memories as a child. And so it has to be watched every year.
Only if it wasn't for just that line. Riding a vixen the wrong way on Sunday.
We laugh every time, and it gets funnier every year, I think.
Yeah.
I preemptively laugh. I'm like, they're going to say it. They're going to say it, Mike.
Yep.
They're going to say riding a vixen.
Riding a vixen the wrong way on a Sunday.
Wearing funny looking hats.
Yep. That's the best line in that movie.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I still love this movie, and I will continue to watch it because of the wonderful memories it has for me, and because I can say this movie backwards and forwards. But I think every year I find something else where I'm like, interesting. I find like a little bit more Mystery Science Theater every single year.
Yep.
And
like Mrs. Claus and her song about
wanting to be her husband.
Wanting to be her husband, and they won't tell because they'll only see me from the back.
Yeah. That was the new one this year.
Well then.
Interesting. So.
Dear Mrs. Claus.
Right? It's such a simple story. The idea of trying to find the Christmas spirit and everything. You know what bothered me this year? It kind of every single year I think about it, but like this year I really grabbed onto the issue of what is the time frame throughout this movie? Because it's like they talk about it as if it was right before Christmas, and then it's like way before Christmas, and then then it is Christmas, and then it's like, and then all of a sudden he decides, no, we can't have a holiday. And it's just, I get very confused, the timeline in which the movie, because it almost feels like this happened. He took Christmas off. They, were all like, and then it was like, then the next year he decided to come back. But that's not the case. And, they had all this time to be, the kids had all this time to make presents and send them up to Santa Claus. And then him still on Christmas Eve decide randomly that, no, I'm going to, I am going to go have Christmas with them. And way to just, shove all the hard work they did right back in their faces there, Santa. And so that was my...
No, it was like Klaus. So it was the deed of kindness sparked.
Yep. And that's exactly what it was. So, no.
You know what I want to see? I want to see a live action version with Jeff Goldblum as the cold miser and Danny DeVito as a heat miser. Like, you can see it, right? You can totally see it.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's fabulous.
Jeff Goldblum as is it the cold miser?
No, it's Snow Miser.
Snow Miser, yeah. Snow Miser. Right?
That is fabulous.
My other thing would be to have Jim Carrey play both, because I think he could actually do both.
Oh, he could.
Right?
Yeah, he could. That would be interesting.
But I would go with Jeff Goldblum, just because he's just got that charisma, and he's jazzy, right?
The other thing too
and
is
DeVito just...
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
It's funny how I noticed too on this time that when they go in to see the Snow Miser, it's very much of like the welcome entrance, and like you see it more happening. You can tell that they like that scene better. The Heat Miser, it's just like, oh crap, by the way, we're cutting to them singing. Like, it's like they forgot to come back from commercial. Yeah. And they were like, oh, we'll just interrupt them as he's already started his song. They didn't know how to like have an entrance coming in. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was funny. You know what? Another weird thing, because every year I got to find something else weird that I, didn't catch before. But Snow Miser talks about wanting to have his temperature nothing over 40 degrees. Like, 40 degrees is still cold. Mm-hmm. Not snowing fully yet, but it's pretty darn close. Like, he doesn't want anything, and then he just wants lower. Because, they're still talking Fahrenheit here. So it goes down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. That's cold.
Yeah.
And yet Heat Miser just doesn't want anything under 60. 60 is pretty temperate. It is not hot. Yeah. And he talks about wanting things to be flaming. Yeah. And he only goes from 60 to 100. I'm like, only 100 degrees.
What a bitch.
I'm a little pansy about this. Like, what the hell? Like, where's your 130? Come on.
Because we've seen those temperatures before, so,
You know what? It's like 60 degrees. I'd be totally fine. It's not snowing, but it is not hot. Yeah. So, there you go. That was my other thought for this year's watching of the Year Without a Santa Claus.
So there you go. You had a whole bunch of good Santa Claus-esque movies this year, right? And in this episode. So it wasn't the Santa Claus trilogy, but it was Santa Claus-y.
Santa Claus-y. I like it.
Yeah. So we watched some adult fare, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ish.
This one's not super adult.
No, it was only rated like Y7, which I was like impressed with.
Which we are impressed because we have assumed with the way that our world has always been that it would be higher rated. Yeah. But it is like it should be, not higher rated.
Yeah. So we found, I was curious about it. It was the Happiest season with Kristen Stewart and Dan Levy. And I can't remember what the other lady's name was. Mackenzie something, I think. And it is the story of basically going home for Christmas. They are a lesbian couple, but the one isn't out of the closet yet.
She doesn't know Kristen and the other Stewart's one, girlfriend. She hates Christmas because her parents had died, and her girlfriend says, "You know what, I wish you could spend Christmas with me." Well, then they're kind of wandering around, probably a little intoxicated, decides that she's going to invite her home for Christmas. And Kristen Stewart decides, like, well, gets all excited. Like, I'm really,
I love you. I'm in it.
Forward to this. Like, this is awesome. And her girlfriend's like, holy crap, what have I done? And she's going along with it, and she brings her. And she's driving on the way to the house, and then she's like, oh, by the way, I haven't come out to my parents yet. And they think you're my roommate.
You're my hetero roommate.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. like what a crappy situation for her to be in.
And you know what? Happy Season. We found it on Amazon Prime. It's on Hulu in the States, I think. It was a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was a really well acted, well shot. It falls a bit into it's a rom-com.
Oh yeah.
But it was really good.
Really good. Like all the characters are really interesting.
Yeah. And
they all did such a good job. And like you really, it was strange. You don't really know the exact beat that it's going to go. And for a while there, I was really rooting for them not to make up.
Yeah.
Because she kind of treated her like crap.
Yeah.
But it felt organically like it moved to the ending in a nice pace. It didn't feel like a red herring was thrown in there, and that, which was really nice.
Yeah. And it normalizes the lifestyle and all that, which I thought was really good. And I think there needs to be more like this.
Yeah. Because they deserve the exact same thing that we're so used to
seeing in all media, right?
All that, yeah.
And it was so well done.
Like, highly recommend this movie, honestly.
Like, it had a good heart to it.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter where you are as a being.
Yeah.
It's a good romantic movie.
Yeah.
And, you know.
There was good comedy in it. It touched on family chaos and trauma and all sorts of problems that happen when you so focused on what people think on the outside, because her dad is running for mayor, and with the stresses of competing for love with siblings, and it touched on problems with your parents and problems with your siblings and problems with how you run your life and high school issues, talking about that. There were so many different things that it touched upon, and
I think it's good for people too to see that aren't on that, the LGBTQ and all that, to see the hardships, right?
Totally
portrayed so well in almost in a family friendly setting feel. Where it's not harsh at all, like it's normalizing it. Yeah, where it's just like,
well, it's the empathy, the feeling of like, wow.
That would suck to go through that.
I can't, that if I was in that situation, I would be so heartbroken,
for Kristen Stewart. And she did a great job in the movie.
She did a wonderful job. And you just feel so bad for her to be in a situation where she wants so badly to love her girlfriend, but not know if she'll ever really be, truly accepted.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to be put. She says, "I don't want to be put in the closet again."
Yes, exactly.
I'm out for a reason. I because this is me.
Yeah,
I don't want to hide who I am.
Yeah, but then and I love Daniel Levy does such a good job as the best friend.
Yeah.
Because I like that he doesn't just automatically agree with Kristen Stewart with her character when she's upset.
Yeah.
He sympathizes and talks to her and understands why she's upset, but also gives her a little bit of a reality check that, everyone's story is different. Yeah. And I love that was, that brought that to light. For her, she had said in the movie that, when she came out to her parents open arms, were totally accepting and were wonderful. He's like, when I came out to my dad, he didn't talk to me for 13 years.
He kicked me out of the house.
And those are extremes, but everyone has a spectrum somewhere in that. Yeah. And you can't expect them all to all be in your own little box. Yeah. And I thought that was really interesting to even think about, for looking in on someone else and the hardship that I can't imagine going through, and knowing that they all have every single person has something different. They aren't all going to be horrible stories, and there aren't all going to be wonderful stories. Yeah. And you never know, right? So I think it was well done with that, because he brought her to think about what you have to think about other people are going through, and there's a lot more at stake in and yeah, it was really wrapped up well. Yeah.
Yeah. Happiest Season. It was a great movie.
Yeah.
Totally worth checking out.
Yeah.
From there, we watched our traditional The Night Before.
It's one of my favorite adult Christmas movies.
Right. Because, every week we've touched upon some form of R-rated Christmas fare. So the story is basically three friends. The one friend, his parents died. Running theme.
Right.
So his friends decide to take him in, have drinks, party, and this becomes their thing on Christmas Eve for many, many, many years. Mm-hmm. And now they got to the point where the one is a famous football player, the other one's having a family. There is time to end this tradition because they're all going off in different ways.
Yeah.
So then it's just the
but
chaos
he has not
and
dealt
hijinks.
with he hasn't really processed, I think, fully the idea of still being things changing, right?
Exactly. Because it was sort of, he still wanted those traditions, and they were always like looking for this magical party that was always like this thing that was hidden about within the city. That's Nutcracker Ball.
Yeah. It's a good touching on, even for myself growing up and having those traditions where it's like, this is the way Christmas is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I can't let go of this. And you end up hurting things because you're so stuck on traditions. Mm-hmm. And the concept of being more flexible and reminding what's more important, the people that you're with or the traditions that you do. And is there a balance between them? And so I can relate with just even that simple concept,
right? Because at the end of everything, they realize they're still together a year later at Christmas.
Yeah.
But they've just changed the tradition. They're not going out getting blackout
totally
drunk,
wasted, and causing mayhem. They've created new traditions because what's most important? Them being together.
Exactly. So the night before, Joseph Levitt-Gordon, Seth Rogen, and Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I think it's just a funny movie because like Seth Rogen's character, his family, he's having a baby. His wife decides this is his last hurrah. She gives him a box of drugs to take.
It's every drug on earth.
Right? She doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know drugs.
The proportions are all off. So there's one joint, like a crap ton of mushrooms.
Yeah. And cocaine. It's just like, so he starts taking that, and then all his fears come out about having a baby. That scene alone is just like... Where he makes a video for future Isaac, and he's just cursing out his baby. And then he realizes when he loses his phone that his wife could see it, and he called the baby some bad words.
I can't say it. I so badly want to. But what's great is then that brings out, though, at the end, that his wife is also
a dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm a little bit high still.
I'm talking to a dragon right now. But she's also feels a lot of that same stuff. She's like so relieved to hear
that he's freaking out because he was like the Dwayne Johnson.
He was the Dwayne Johnson, yeah. That it was okay to be like that, and I love that feeling because it is terrifying to become a parent.
Yeah.
Even if you process it really, really well, you cannot tell me that at one point you were terrified, and I love that his video that he has, like, he's so freaked out that he's going to totally just mess this kid up. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that fear at some point, I think you're denying something, honestly, because even if it's like, I'm totally going to mess this up, but I got this, then fine. You've at least questioned it. Right. And I love that, the realness that's there for it. So.
Yeah, no.
But Mr. Green is one of the best parts of it.
Mr. Green, Michael Shannon.
Yeah. It's like, it's so wonderful.
He was a weed dealer from high school.
Yep. And once just in case you haven't seen this, I can't spoil this for you. But once you watch it and then you watch it again.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch it and then watch it again.
And then pay attention to his character. And it's just so much more enriching.
Yeah. Every time I watch it,
you realize catch something else, right?
Yeah, a little bit more lighting. Just
little things that are changes.
There's actually a lot more to the movie than it seems. Like, it just seems like a ridiculous party stoner movie.
But it's not.
But like, there's like this extra like layer that like the more you watch it, you peel into that layer more and you realize a few things.
Like, it's all about just growing up and dealing with problems and
it's probably my favorite Seth Rogen film.
Yeah.
Like, that's a weird thing to say probably, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, he does such a good job in it, but there's just so much to it.
Yeah.
Like, The Night Before. Yeah.
Yeah, such a good movie.
Go watch that now. Just turn us off and we'll go watch that.
Yeah, we'll let you go now.
Yeah, you can go do that. You can go watch that. Go watch The Night Before. Totally worth it.
Well, out of all of this, I think you should go watch Klaus. You should go watch Happiest Season. And you should go watch The Night Before.
There you go. Boom, boom, boom.
So
Merry Christmas. A hoe, and a hoe. That wasn't trying to be derogatory to anyone. It was just 3 Christmas movies.
Yeah, I know.
Max. But
it was... You're trying to get out of this one and you can't.
Yeah, no, I can't get out of this one now. Now I've said too much. Now we're going to...
Okay, well...
But yeah, it's the last. Here's the last little bit here. We're coming into the home stretch of Christmas.
It's almost here,
right? So pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone for listening. Stay rad. Do something nice for someone else, even if it's just we can't smile because you're wearing a mask. So
you know what?
Friendly raised eyebrow.
You know what I love is just like I was walking through the parking lot at the mall today, and of course I was like. It's open and I can take my mask off. And you know how freeing it is to be able to actually smile at someone and say hi from a distance? Like, it's such a marvelous feeling to be able to smile and have it be seen. Opposed to in the mall where I can't smile at people and I smile and I'm like, you can't see me. I just have like, are my eyes smiling? Are my bitchy looking? I don't know what's going on.
I've been trying to get more expressive with my
So you look constantly shocked all the time?
I constantly look like I'm probably like Nicolas Cage all the time.
But you have sprightly eyes, right? So it's okay.
Yeah, but it's hard when you're like trying to like, to kids and all that, right? Yeah. Like to not
look like scary.
Yeah, you're not giving them the crazy eye like the Samuel Jackson Black Snake Moan eye, right? Like, you're trying to like find that happy like Will Ferrell elf eyes. Yes. Like, good job, buddy! Yay! These are my happy eyes.
Happy eyes.
Not like half squinted like I see you, fool. Right? Like
at least you have use. He has much better like fine motor control over his face than I do. Like,
but you know what? Having to do that so much, my eyebrows are getting sore.
Yeah.
Like my face.
You're gonna have more wrinkles on your forehead. My
face is getting sore. Because, you can't just, whip
so that. None of us will be able to smile or frown after this, but we'll have really expressive eyes.
Right?
We will forget to be smiling in public because you're like, I haven't had a smile for months. What's happening?
I
like that I can walk around and kind of, because I talk under my breath all the time to myself.
So you can just mutter.
So I can mutter and not look crazy. I was doing that.
Now, if anyone sees crazy, they'd be like, "You crazy fool!" She's muttering under that mask. You know what? Winter break's coming up for me, and I am so looking forward to not wearing a mask. When I go out, I'll wear a mask.
Yeah,
but
you're like, home, I'm not going out at all.
I'm not going to have a mask on for 5 hours.
Yeah, that'll be. Very
I know that's nothing compared to those that are actually dealing with like healthcare workers and all that kind of stuff. Like, by all means, I cannot imagine what they are dealing with because after 5 hours, I'm just like, please. Yeah. So my ears are all bent forward and.
Yeah,
it's messing up my hearing a bit too because where they hit, it hits right here, or here it hits right on the back of my earlobe there, and like it cuts it off sometimes. So there's like extra noise in there. I'm like having to cup it like an old man. What do you say? I'm gonna have that horn.
Yeah, pretty soon. Yeah, it'll be good. Nice.
But anyways,
on that note,
I almost said be kind, rewind. I don't know, rewind a bit. Listen to us again.
Woo. No, go watch The Night Before.
There you go. So stay rad, dudes.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!